Donald Trump has deployed hundreds of National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. So far, it doesn't seem like there's been major disruptions yet, but I suspect that major disruptions are incoming.
Up the Capitol and get homeless people off the streets.
Homeless individuals will be given the option to leave their encampment, to be taken to a homeless shelter, to be offered addiction or mental health services, and if they refuse, they will be susceptible to fines or to jail time.
President Trump's decision to take over the Washington, D.C. Police Department is unprecedented. It is also limited. Under federal law, he can only do it for 30 days unless Congress authorizes a longer term. As for that National Guard deployment, there is no such limitation on the length of time for that.
Yeah, everybody knows famously the most successful method of combating homelessness is not to try to stop more people from falling victim to homelessness by fixing the housing market, and to actually take the existing homeless population and like put them in housing, permanent shelter of some sort, so they can aid in the recovery process, start the recovery process. But instead it's to kill them with the military. That's what we're gonna do. That's how we're supposed to combat homelessness. Great, sounds great. A big chunk of those dudes are vets too, by the way. So make no mistake, when these dickheads are like, oh my God, what about our veterans? What about our veterans? Remember, they love talking about veterans. They love remembering that like homeless veterans exist. Whenever the conversation is about like immigrants and how much money is being spent on immigrants. Okay, what happened now? Now you're literally sicking the existing military on former military homeless people. What the fuck happened? I thought y'all cared about the veterans. I thought y'all cared about the homeless veterans. What happened? Turns out you were just using that as a talking point. Just like you use mental health as a talking point whenever you don't want to talk about the real problem with gun violence in this country. No, we can't do gun control. No, we can't have any sort of like reasonable gun control measures. What about mental health? What about mental health? And when mental health is actually the subject matter, they go, what are you, gay? What are you, woke? You want mental health? You want therapy? Get the fuck out of here. Great. Fantastic. Wonderful.
To Washington, D.C. now, where this morning National Guard troops are on the streets to help carry out the president's unprecedented and boundary.
The funniest thing about the National Guard is like the National Guard reflects like the broader American society. So it's very funny seeing like a bunch of dudes that just look like you would see them at Walmart or whatever, who's doing the military stuff now.
Pushing plan to take over policing in the nation's capital. Scott McFarland asked some D.C. residents how they're feeling about all that.
One day after President Trump announced his plan, National Guard troops were deployed to D.C. streets Tuesday night, joining nearly 900 federal agents and officers that have taken posts around Washington, alongside local police who are now under the authority of the Trump administration. In D.C.'s Anacostia neighborhood, Ron Moten says crime has long plagued his community, but he and others are skeptical this is a good idea.
They're tired of violence. I get it. But my only caution is one thing can lead to the next thing. You can take over our police department today, and we wake up and you take over our city.
They may not give it back.
They may not give it back.
Top Department of Justice officials, including the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, met with D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser yesterday, while the White House defended the 30-day takeover.
We are removing as many criminals from the streets, and we are cleaning up D.C. as best as we can, and working with the Metropolitan Police Department to do that.
Darrell Gaston has seen the violence up close.
Those are bullet holes up there?
Yeah, bullet holes.
But enough about my millions in abs. Now back to genocide. Twitch gas bag. Yeah, you got it across, man. I know. We cover a variety of different things, you know? Strange. They posted up in Georgetown. What are we doing? I know. This part, it just like doesn't make any sense. Thank you for no ads. Of course, no ads. This broadcast, the Piker Broadcasting Service, is brought to you by you, the viewers. For you, the viewers. Okay? Insane that tried to do an insurrection wouldn't deploy federal law enforcement on January 6th has sent out Anyway, I'll write that later. Let's keep going with this. Hold on. I said this admin is sending a more militant response to big balls being jumped by a 15-year-old teen boy and girl than January 6th. Because remember, a lot of people forget that like Donald Trump did January 6th, right? The insurrection that failed. And he was still president. As in, he could have had a more militant defense against January 6th if he wanted to do so. But of course, that would be idiotic because he was responsible for doing January 6th. And it's crazy. It is insane that the ass whooping of big balls seemingly is a more significant event that deserves a militant response from federal law enforcement and the military, as opposed to the insurrection. Can you explain, please, why so many branches of police are active here, like Park Service, DEA? Because those are all federal law enforcement agencies. That's why. ATF, DEA, FBI, CIA. Well, technically not CIA, but like FBI, DEA, DSI, or no, HSI, like Homeland Security, different branches. Like these are all federal law enforcement agencies, and they all have their own like police force basically. And they're deploying every single one of them in DC. It's basically just to, create an environment that is threatening.
First one I saw. So my thought is there's not much going on here, so maybe they're practicing. Come on.
Maybe they're practicing. Yeah, so wild because they didn't do this about the CDC shooter, only Big Balls. Big Balls gets beat up and Trump sends the guard into DC. This dude allegedly shoots up the CDC, killing a police officer, and absolutely crickets from this administration. Yeah, because it's one of their guys, which is, of course, it's always their guys. Felix Biederman likes to say, a Trump supporter gets bored, famously, when referencing certain types of incidents that may or may not have happened in the past, kinetic incidents. Trump supporters getting bored is a very dangerous prospect for Donald Trump himself. Okay? It's just when they do it, when their guys do it, it's like, what are you going to do? Don't talk about it. Don't even talk about it. And it's not even a question. How many minutes were afforded to the dangerous radicalizing sentiment coming from RFK Jr., which led to this attack? They killed a cop. This dude shot and killed a cop. Is this guy's name actually Big Balls? No, not this guy. This is a different guy. Big Balls is the Doge guy who was tasked by Elon Musk. Big Balls was tasked by Elon Musk to basically dismantle the federal regulatory apparatus, okay? That is his actual name. I can't believe I'm saying these words. I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth. But yeah, his real name is Edward Korestein, but he's most famously known as Big Balls, okay? They've already started implementing stop and frisk. I already said this. Like, I think the goal is to use the military to do stop and frisk. Spotted in D.C., a convoy of Park Police, ATF, and other Fed law enforcement making random traffic stops near Howard University. I wonder why they're doing it near Howard University. Well, they're not doing stop and frisk near Georgetown. Wonder why they're doing it at Howard University. They're doing a regular checkpoint. Yeah, the famous criminals over at Howard University, which is like Black Harvard, okay? Yeah, those are... I wonder why you would just assume that the people in and around this historical Black university would be criminals automatically. Totally random police stop here. If someone played played me a clip for your last few sentences 5 years ago and said this will be your favorite political commentator, I would say that person was crazy. What do you mean? Violating the Fourth Amendment, by the way. The police need reasonable suspicion of a crime. This is why it was thrown out in New York. Oh, yeah, of course. By the way, I can't stress this enough. They are doing this for suppression. They are doing this for militant response. They're doing this to show you who's in charge. And they're going to continue doing this. And make no mistake, their goal is to do this everywhere. Okay? They don't have enough manpower to do this. They still have to hire a ton more ICE agents, obviously, to be able to do this successfully. And the military will make up for that shortage. But that is the goal. Now, the problem, of course, is that the American military is comprised of people from all different walks of life, from all around the country. And it doesn't feel like many of them are invested in doing this kind of thing. ICE, on the other hand, is a self-selecting group of monstrous Gestapo pieces of shit. So obviously, they will be more excited, more enthusiastic about putting on a mask and behaving in these like incredibly violent Gestapo-style ways. Whereas the National Guard is just like regular ass dudes that are, you know, weekend warriors. So they're not going to be all be as invested. Even the Marines are probably not as invested in like doing domestic law enforcement stuff as ICE would. So this once again runs into the same problems where I think this administration's incompetence will get in the way of its desires to implement full-blown fascism. Okay? That's what I think. That's what I suspect. But in the process, they'll still be extremely annoying. Here's another example. This man in D.C. was smoking a cigarette on the front porch of his steps, and he got harassed by a full squad of federal agents. Based on this current FBI salary plus fringe benefits, you are looking at easily over $600,000 in taxpayer funds used on this book. They're using the I thought I smell the odor of marijuana tactic to stop and frisk and harass black people in D.C. Of course, the same week, Trump announced he might reclassify marijuana scheduling as narcotic. Police are nothing without these gray area illegal procedures.
How y'all doing today? Y'all staying in that trouble? Right, cool. You got your ID on you, Chip?
Well, no, I live right here.
Okay, cool.
It's a cigarette. Did y'all get a call or something about right here?
No, so we're doing checks, keeping everybody safe down here, right? Have you heard of the federal surge that Donald Trump's putting out?
No.
Right. You don't.
Oh, dude, I'm just keeping you safe. Don't you feel safe? You mentioned this was the first thing Hitler did. Can you talk about this more? I'm not aware. I mean, yeah, militarizing the domestic law enforcement with loyal Hitlerite servants of the admin is a common meta.
Follow like Code 3, anything like that people are putting up. All right, so yeah, Trump's got all federal agencies kind of coming together for 7 days and going out, trying to stop the violent crime, all kind of stuff. So we're out here contacting people, talking to them, right? Quality of life offenses, smoking, drinking in public, right? Can't happen outside, right? Most people know that. Right?
Quality of life adjustments. You can't be smoking and drinking in public. Okay. Well, he's not. He's smoking on his porch in his own house. So what the f are you bothering him about?
So we're contacting people, trying to advise them of the law. They learn, right? And then if there's other stuff going on where it turns into there's multiple agencies or something, there's extra hands. We're just out here trying to inform people and educate people, go grab people and ruin something.
I love that he's like, oh, it's not like we're trying to do the thing that we are literally doing to you right now that you are documenting. Dude, you're doing it. What do you mean we're not trying to do the thing that you're doing? Like, what the f is this? Oh, dude, you don't understand. Like, I'm not trying to like be in anybody's business. You know, I'm not trying to like walk up to people's houses and demand answers to idiotic questions about what they do in the privacy of their own front porch. That would be silly if I were to do that, obviously. You know? Yeah, this is the classic. While I'm in the process of arresting you, I say, in Russia, you would be arrested for this. Like, literally, as a cop is just like beating on a protester and violently apprehending them, he says, in Russia, you'd be arrested for this. You know that? It's like, well, you're arresting me. What's going on? Am I in Russia?
I only asked because when you walked up, at the moment you walked up, you only had asked me.
Yeah, well, it smelled like the odor of marijuana, burnt marijuana.
Oh, dude. Well, the olfactory cues were signaling to me that there was a tactical marijuana insertion in the air follicles, and I of course had to make a kinetic advancement in the direction of the odor of marijuana. Sir, are you in the presence of a currently legal but maybe in the future illegal narcotic substance? I have tactically ascertained that in the future time frame, there might be more kinetic situations involving myself and many other brave members of the law enforcement community to apprehend and tactically ascertain the olfactory cues that are coming in your direction by a narcotic substance.
In the air, right? And you're the only guy that had something lit in your hand. And I didn't flashlight you, so I didn't realize it was just a cigarette. So that's on me. I appreciate you understanding and not getting me. All right, so just know, right? Learn, teach, tell your boys, like, yo.
Tell your boys, spread the word. We're in here. We're up in this bitch.
Everybody's out. FBI, Department Police.
So they go see
so do your thing. Let them know. Don't be smoking outside. Don't be drinking outside. Donald Trump is tired. People coming to visit.
I didn't know that.
Fuck is it to you? What do you mean? What do you mean? Tell your boys no more drinking outside. Like, what are we talking about, man? It's so annoying. I thought this was America, okay? Yeah, I know he said Donald Trump is tired of it. He said Donald Trump. Bro, is that your daddy? The f do you mean? Donald Trump is tired of it, dude. No more drinking outside. Donald Trump doesn't want that. Okay. Well, f you and f Donald Trump too. Suck my dick, both of you. Take it up. Take it up with the big man. What the f do you mean? Oh, tell your boys no more freedoms, okay? Donald Trump is tired of it. Oh, okay, got it, man. Thank you. I didn't realize we lived in that world now, you know? This is the whole point, okay? This is literally the whole point. When Donald Trump talks about like beautification or broken windows policing, like this is precisely what they're trying to implement. An environment of ever-present threats coming from federalized law enforcement agencies, federal law enforcement agencies and militarized police forces that roam the streets and just like harass random black dudes on their own goddamn porches with totally irrelevant, with like a totally made up reason. This conversation, this back and forth, could have gone south, and luckily it didn't. Okay, luckily it didn't. But and before people say, "Oh, it's a law in like Virginia and DC," dude. You're supposed to have leniency, and this person's on his own porch anyway. What the f are you talking about? There is no law in the books that says you can't drink or smoke on your own porch. That's number one. Number two, have you ever been hit with a container charge? I have. Okay. The process is so annoying. Under normal circumstances, you could just like make the person dump the alcohol, and it's a citation at best. It should never even get to that point, regardless. Okay, even if he was like on the street right now, drinking an alcoholic beverage, do you think it's justifiable to have the entire like ATF, DEA, FBI agents swarm you and be like, yup, take out the sick freak? Even if he was in public doing that, cops will always use whatever they can to their advantage to just like your day up. Okay, that's it. This should be seen for exactly what it is, which is a ridiculous overkill militarization to basically do a military occupation to threaten law-abiding citizens in the nation's capital.
Be smoking outside, don't be drinking outside. Donald Trump is tired. People come to visit.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know smoking in public?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the recipe.
Because in Maryland, it's recreational use, so I didn't know.
Yeah, so DC, it's recreational use as well, right? But you can legally possess up to 2 ounces. You can gift an ounce to your boy, right? So if you had 2 ounces and he said he needed a zip, you can give him a zip, but you can't smoke outside.
I'm absolutely crashing out because blue no matter who voters are using these raids to bash the common criticisms during the election cycle and calling us Nazi sympathizers too. Come on. Yeah, dude. those are not reflective of the broader liberal sentiment. Okay, I think there's more anger towards the Democrats and their incompetence right now from the Democratic base in general, than there is anger and animosity directed towards the left flank. You need to remember something. The reason why you feel that way is because you're online, okay? And online liberals love that kind of drama. They thrive on that kind of drama. Some of them do it for their own personal malicious agenda because they're vindictive, they're angry that they were wrong, and leftist content creators were right. Some of them do it because they want to defend the Democratic Party unconditionally in ways that like even the base is not claiming is the reason. You can't say that people are more angry and resentful at the left for Kamala Harris losing, and they are falsely blaming the left for Kamala Harris losing at a time when Chuck Schumer is one of the least popular congresspersons in the United States of America, and he's one of the prominent leaders of the Democratic Party. Clearly, the overarching, the overwhelming majority of Americans understand exactly who to blame. That doesn't make sense if you look at the actual polling numbers. If you actually look at the favorability of the Democrats in general, they are underwater right now. So clearly, many Americans, including Democrats, obviously Republicans will always hate the Democratic politicians, but many Democratic voters also despise the Democratic Party at this moment. One must ask the question, why? Why is it that Bernie Sanders and AOC are seen as some of the most popular Democrats at this moment, whereas WGQ, what is this? Oh, this is the GQ TikTok. 37,000, goddamn. Americans, broadly, if American liberal voters broadly felt the same way that these like snarky ass, spite-driven online liberal commentators felt, then the polling results would reflect that reality. People like Bernie and people like Bernie Sanders and people like AOC would be despised, reviled by the base. They wouldn't be the most popular Democrats by the base. Zoran would not win the Democratic Party's primary because he would have the scarlet letter of being associated with the left. If the left was actively reviled by the base, then Zoran would have never won the Democratic primary in New York. Okay? That's it. If liberal online commentary sphere were actually reading the room properly, and that there was genuine anger and resentment towards the left by normies that you encounter in the real world, like actual regular ass liberals that you encounter in the real world, then polling would reflect that. Okay? Kamala Harris would be incredibly popular. Chuck Schumer would be popular. Hakeem Jeffries would be popular. People are tired of Donald Trump's shenanigans. And this electoral defeat in the first like 4 months, I think, caused people to basically check out for the interim. It caused people to check out of the conversation altogether because they couldn't understand the way that they thought things were going to unfold, because they were sold a lie by liberal outlets. They were sold a lie by liberal commentators that like Kamala Harris was going to kill it. Okay? Kamala Harris was going to kill it. Kamala Harris was going to win. And then when that didn't happen, they were like, what the went wrong? Some of them checked out. Some of them tried to look for answers. And they basically came to the conclusion that, you know, the Democrat inability to address all of the issues that Trump continues to bring about, all of the awful things that the administration is doing, has been met with tremendous resentment. Okay? It's been met with understandable anger. It's been met with revulsion. It's been met with tremendous anger. The Democrats are finally upset. Democratic voters are finally upset with the Democratic Party. They demand better fighters from the Democrats.